And the reason we've moved this adjournment again is because we've got a government that want to go back to a simple sledge motion rather than talk about the victims in our state. And I'll go on record every single time and say one of the priorities of this opposition, and should be of this government, is the mounting number of victims across Victoria. And it's not just the victims who were in the store in Bayside, who were hit by a car in Berwick, the car was stolen. It's not the victims who have been home invaded. It's the continuous extensions of those with their families. It's those that are absolutely genuinely worried about what is going to happen in their home when they see that aggravated burglaries have gone up by 146% under Labor. 146% under Labor. And I know the member for Mordialloc was saying about the diversions and trying to get tactics across. Maybe for the member for Mordialloc could put a notice on the paper to talk about John Setka in his role to correct men's health. If you want to fix men's health, go and put one on the paper and put your position forward on what you think about John Setka. And we'll talk about crime that's happening across the southeast or the behaviour of those men in there. We need to fix youth crime here in our state. We must fix crime across this state. We cannot continue to see...
Order. Member will resume his seat. The member for Cranbourne on a point of order.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. This is a tight procedural motion and I'd ask you to bring the member back to the motion before us.
The member, I think, was back at the time and should continue.
Thank you very much, Deputy, because we are saying, because the most important reason why we want this adjournment is because of the crime statistics and victims across our state. And I know Labor want to cut me off, and the reason Labor want to cut it off is because members like the member for Point Cook, who wanted to stand up and laugh at crime here in Victoria, would like to send that out to 12,000 victims across Wyndham. 12,000 victims in the last 12 months who have been victims of crime in Wyndham alone. 12,000 people. And they think that's a laughing matter. We've got issues all the way across the state. And I think it's important when we're talking about why is it important we debate it in here? Because I've spoken to a victim who wasn't in the house when his house was broken into. He was in Perth. And whilst in Perth, he got a phone call from his daughter. And his daughter said, "Dad, there's someone in the house," and there was 3 offenders. Now, Deputy Speaker, I could not even imagine what it would be like to be in a different state when your child rings and says there's 3 offenders with weapons in my house right now. And we can't get in contact with police. We've had issues with 000 here in this state under this government, and we know in Mildura we've also got police vacancies, which is leading to an increase in crime. We have continuously said we must have debates in this place about protecting our community. I spoke about the numbers of Victoria Police before, and I know the government want to talk about the EBA decision for the 9 hours and 9-day fortnight in 2027. Not now. We're putting that off till after the next election. We're not doing it before the election, we're going to do it after. But what they won't speak about is the fact that we have 317 less police officers in Victoria today than we did 2 years ago, after the government promised an increase of 502. That is 307 less people to be in the van to respond to emergencies across our state. That is 317 less police that should be driving around proactively to stop and prevent crime. And what happens when we don't have this, Deputy Speaker? We have an increase in our aggravated burglaries to such a state that people are genuinely fearful wherever they live across the entire land of Victoria. I can tell you in Berwick alone, we were rated number 2 for aggravated burglaries. Clyde North crime, where the government promised a police station and failed to deliver, has increased 20... So I'll just note, member for Bass just sort of goes, no, who cares? The reality is there's an increase in crime of 27% in Clyde North. We'll explain that to your electorate as well. They're not getting the response they deserve because Labor failed to deliver the police station they promised. And even if they could deliver it, they couldn't deliver the police officers for it because they can't get new police in there. Deputy Speaker, there is nothing more important than we need to debate right now here in Victoria than crime and youth crime. We need to get that crime under control. We need to make sure that we get those that we are scared of off the street and not continue to bail them to go out there and terrorise people in their homes, their workplaces or in the street. And the only way that can happen is this government gets off their arse and starts to do what we need to do to fix Victoria.